Welcome to episode 203 of the Prosperity Practice, the podcast that has you living your most abundant life. This is Danielle Amos, and I am your host. So today you'll hear me talking about creating a prosperous mindset, and I'll be challenging some of the beliefs that most of us grew up believing about money. So, yeah, you've heard me say before that unless you were born in a really wealthy family and your parents, and even then, like, there's so much lack, out in the world, but most of us were conditioned to believe and have a scarcity mindset, to believe in lack, to believe that money is scarce, that if it's used over here, that it's taken from someone else. And it's actually the opposite of what's true. And so I poke holes in these beliefs in this podcast. And for me, when I realized this, that I just simply wasn't raised to believe or have a prosperous mindset, and that I could actually choose my beliefs and change my mindset, it just immediately, I felt so much freedom and self-responsibility. So I was able to move myself into the prosperous stream. And I'd like to invite you to do the same thing, okay, we all have this story about how we grew up, but it doesn't have to define us. And just because we were programmed with this mindset doesn't mean that we have to live today with those beliefs. So I share in this podcast about my journey and how believing that money is a result of hard work put me in an interesting, I say interesting, a lot of debt. So I share that story here, and I share to let you know where I've come from, and also inspire you to believe and understand that it doesn't matter. Like, all of those things have become a big part of my story. And yes, like, a big part of why I view money the way I do, but it doesn't matter where you come from. The truth is, abundance is your birthright, and that each of us as human beings, we've got these mental faculties and we just got to use them. So enjoy this. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, I'm here for questions. And here's the thing: if you haven't joined us for Rise, this is the masterclass that we're hosting. Register, because what if what I say sparks something within you that has you decide once and for all that this is your year, and boom, like, you're off. So join us. We'll see you in Rise. Enjoy. This is about creating a prosperous mindset. I know some people, it just looks like they're lucky when it comes to money. But what if it has nothing to do with luck? What if the truth is most of the population have been programmed with a lack and limited mindset, especially when it comes to money? And only a few, about 3 to 5%, receive this prosperous mindset. What if you can change that? What if you can reprogram your mind to be prosperous? How many of you have heard the term, money doesn't grow on trees? Money's the root of all evil. Or when you wanted something as a child, or maybe as an adult, I want that new handbag, or I'd love to go to France. And your partner says, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to afford that? Does this sound familiar? And you could even, write in the chat, what else have you heard? Save your pennies for a rainy day. You got to work hard for money. What if all of these sayings are actually not true? What if money's easy to earn and it has nothing to do with how hard you work? Now, I'm not saying you don't have to work. There's a law of cause and effect, but what if it doesn't have to be hard? What if hard work has nothing to do with it? And in fact, for most people, the harder they work, the more they're kinking their money hose. It's a big part of the problem. I know. It's a little backwards. The truth is, like I said, most people have been programmed to live with a lack and limited mindset. And it makes a lot of sense. If you look out in the world, wouldn't you agree that most people are not financially free? Only a small percentage of the population are financially free. And in fact, 3% of the people in the world are earning all the money. Why is that? Could it be that they have a prosperous mindset and the rest don't? So what if you can actually change your mindset? What if you can understand that you've been programmed? And I'll share with you what that means. You have a paradigm. And what if that programming has been dictating your results all this time? It's been dictating how much money you earn all this time. And what if you could change that? And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So let's start from the beginning. What is a paradigm or a programming? Well, it's just that. Just like your phone has a program and it's been operating from a program, you as a human being received a program. You have a paradigm. A paradigm is just that mental programming. It's your multitude of habits that have been locked up in your subconscious mind. Your habitual way of thinking, which is just a belief, your habitual way of acting, showing up in the world, your habitual way of feeling, all of that is part of that paradigm. And that paradigm, that mental programming, is something that you received between the ages of 0 and 7. Part of your program came from your genetics, your genetic programming, which is why you look the way you look, 50% mom, 50% dad. You also have an environmental programming. This programming you received from your caregivers, your parents, your grandparents, society, school. They've programmed you to think and act a certain way. Now, your parents, your teachers, your grandparents, they did the best they could with what they have. The truth is, you can't give what you don't have. And your parents, your grandparents, most likely grew up in lack and limitation as well. And they had a lack and limited mindset, and they passed that on to you. Just like until and unless you change this paradigm, this root cause, this mental programming for yourself, you'll pass on this way of thinking, acting to your children. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, oh, I don't want that. I'm a mom. But like I said, we do the best we can, and you can't give what you don't have. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why you've been attracted to this presentation, to upgrade your mindset, your programming as it relates to money, so that you can pass on a prosperous mindset to your children. Think about it. So if you can take mindset, lack and limitation, and a prosperous mindset and make it really clear, make it very black and white, because the truth is you cannot think two thoughts at the same time. You cannot think a thought of lack and a thought of prosperity at the same time. Try it. It's impossible. It's either one or the other. So let's make it so black and white so it's easy to understand. So a lack and limited mindset is how most of the population have been programmed as it relates to money. In the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about this. He says, like, unless you were brought up in a family like the Kennedys or like, the Rothschilds or the Westons here in Canada, you most likely have a limited mindset. And it makes a lot of sense. Now, there's nothing wrong here. It's just the way that we were programmed to believe and what we were programmed to believe about money. What if all of that's wrong? What if we actually have a lot of our beliefs backwards and that there's a new way to think about money and you get to learn this new way to think, but it's got to be learned and you've got to go to the root cause and change that paradigm. So we've got a program. You received it between the ages of 0 and 7. Everyone has a money program, by the way. Some people's will be worse than others, and we all have one, okay? And even if you were born into the most prosperous family, there'll be other paradigms or habitual ways of thinking that you'll need to upgrade, by the way. So even, the most affluent family will have a program or paradigm that they need to upgrade. So this is part of what it means to be human. We get to be on a journey of growth. In fact, that's why we desire and we have goals. The purpose of a goal is growth, not to get. So it may feel like, okay, you want to go back and you want to look and share your story. Oh my gosh, my parents, they did this and this is how they felt about money. It can be valuable for you to see, like to recognize the paradigm. It won't take much. The truth is the experiences that you had, the sayings that you heard over and over through repetition with the most emotion caused your strongest paradigms. And money, it's a sensitive subject. It's, money has a lot of emotion around it. So you can see how most of us have strong paradigms about money and they're rooted in lack. Like I said, what if we've had it backwards? We heard things that money's the root of all evil. What if that's absolutely not true? What if money is good? That the more money you have, the more impact you can make in the world. Money is good. What if it's a good thing to have money? We heard save your penny for a rainy day. What if that's backwards? What if money must be kept in circulation? And that money is just energy. It's an exchange for service rendered. What if it goes where it's invited and stays where it's appreciated? What if it's responding to your feeling about it? What if money truly is everywhere and it must be kept in circulation and it's abundant? It's not a limited resource. What if it's unlimited? And I'm doing this figure eights with my hands because that's infinity. And the truth is, as you give money, you'll receive more of it. And as you keep it in circulation, you'll notice there's no limitation. It comes back to you. Now, it may not come back to you from the source, like the place you gave it to. If I give $10,000 to a charity may not pay me $100,000, and yet clients will come. Now, I don't give to trade. I give to give, and I let go of completely, and I graciously receive. It must be kept in circulation. As I pay this person for this service, this other person pays me for my service. Circulation. You want to keep it in circulation with this feeling that it's abundant, it's everywhere. The truth is, abundance is your birthright. There's unlimited money, just like there's unlimited health for you. It's a natural state. You just haven't experienced it yet because of the beliefs that you've been holding on to in your subconscious mind, these ideas that you were programmed with that are absolute crap. It's not true. Money is not a limited resource. You don't have to work hard for it. Yes, you got to give service. Yes, it's an exchange. But it's not the result of hustle. It's not the result of hard work. We've actually got it so backwards. Another thing that I hear often that's completely backwards is once I have money in the bank, then I'll feel comfortable with money. Then I'll feel that I'm abundant or prosperous. No, you've got to feel prosperous now. You've got to feel abundant now. You've got to feel comfortable with money first. And then you take action in that energy, and then you'll have it in your bank account. So all those that say, I'll invest in the program when I have money, I'll go on the trip when the new clients come, it's not going to happen. You've got it backwards. You've got to decide to invest first in the energy of this knowing that money is everywhere. And then you've got to put the deposit down, and then you'll receive. The decision comes first. You be, then you do in that energy, and then you have it. The only way you haven't experienced that magic, that universal truth, is because you've been programmed to think a different way. But what if there's a new way of thinking? What if 3 to 5% of the population were programmed in this prosperous mindset, and you can reprogram yourself to think a certain way and be in this prosperous mindset as well? That's what I'm here to show you how to do. And once you learn to live in harmony with these universal truths, these universal laws about money and energy, life becomes abundant and easy. And what I have for you, what I have for myself, I want for you. I've often been asked to share my story, how I went from $100,000 in debt to creating a multi-million-dollar business in just a few years. I share this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that you can learn to think a certain way. You can learn this. There's a system to success. And if you feel called to learn, if you feel called to think a new way, it does take courage, I promise you. And it's not easy to do it alone, because this way that we've been programmed is so strong, and society echoes the fear around money and that it's limited. If you are one of the ones that's ready to feel differently around money, to think differently around money, I want you to reach out. Because the truth is, you can have it all. Abundance is your birthright. It's not easy to make these bold decisions. And with the help of a mentor, a circle of influence, accountability, it's easy to make these bold moves and to go against the grain in this new way of thinking around money. And I'm here to support you in that. I believe in you. I know what I have is for you. I know that there's more for you. I know abundance is your birthright. You can have it all, whatever that means to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for investing your time in this program, in this work. And lastly, expect abundance. All right. Thank you for being here. I'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, and you can bring them over to Rise. We'll see you inside the Rise program. The link is in the show notes. Expect abundance.